Hi, I am Colleen Friend, the Assistant Superintendent in Carlisle, and one of my jobs as the Assistant Superintendent is also to be the homeless liaison for the school district. Ms. Cook asked me to record a quick video about our students in Carlisle that are experiencing homelessness. She thought maybe I could, talk just a minute or two. Many of you who know me know it's not possible for me to talk a minute or two, so I'm probably going to overachieve at this task. But I'm happy to talk about it. We currently have 71 students in our district who are experiencing homelessness. Now, I say that very carefully because those are 71 that are identified. We probably have more children and students in our district that are experiencing homelessness. I think it's very important as I share with you about these students is that you understand that we do not call them homeless students. They are students that are experiencing homelessness. It's a temporary period in their life that they need some additional supports. The number 71 this year is significantly higher than our pattern for this time of school year. That's probably not a surprise to anybody because of the pandemic. What is a surprise is all of last year, we only had 83 students that were identified as experiencing homelessness. That is likely because we were in a tier 2, we were not at school every single day, and a lot of students went misidentified. On a traditional year, we average about 110 students by the end of the school year that have experienced homelessness. So what does the homeless liaison do in the district? Well, my job is to knock down any barriers that would prevent a student from coming to school or feeling comfortable coming to school. So, for example, if somebody moves into the district and they don't have their immunization records, that is not a barrier for that child. We immediately enroll that child if we know they're experiencing homelessness. Or perhaps they're not able to produce a lease because, remember, we have students that could be living in motels and are experiencing homelessness. So a lease or proof of residency is not necessarily required. Another component that some people miss is we are supposed to help at registration if there are younger siblings because they need to have access to preschool too. So we are a conduit to help those students get enrolled in preschool and get the pre-kindergarten experiences that they need. A student experiencing homelessness is automatically provided free lunch and breakfast, but keep in mind right now the USDA has all of our students covered. Now that's another reason that some of our students could be missing being identified because everybody's getting that resource that we would normally put in place if we found out that someone was experiencing homelessness. Transportation is also a key support that we do in Carlisle that we're obligated to do. And so if, let's use the example, a student lived in the Crestview area and is evicted and experiencing homelessness, they move over to the Hamilton boundaries. What we do is we make sure that we provide transportation if that student needs it to remain at their home school. They're allowed to remain at their home school until they find legitimate, secure, stable housing, whether in any capacity, but that it has to be secure and safe, stable and safe. So homelessness does not end at the end of the school year. We check on kids, but it rolls into other school years. Now, that being said, if a student does find secure housing during the course of the school year, they are allowed to remain at their school if they so choose until the end of that school year, and then they would be enrolled if it was a different boundary into the other school. I'm also in charge of the appeal process. So let's say, for example, we have a student that moved to Philadelphia and said they still want to be enrolled at Bel Air Elementary School and they want to be transported at any given day. That's not really in the best interest of the student. That's obviously a very long drive and it's not practical. So a parent could appeal, they would appeal to me and then go further. We've only had that happen one time and I've done this job I'm in my 4th year doing this job. So that's very, very rare. If I was going to answer the question, what do I want every teacher to know about students experiencing homelessness? I actually went back to some of the research that I did as I was going through my last program. And our students experience a lot of challenges while living homelessly. Oftentimes, they have a lack of dependable or fast Wi-Fi. Now, we help with hotspots, and we do a pretty good job with that since the pandemic, but that was certainly a consideration before. Transportation for extracurricular activities, that is definitely a challenge for students. Lack of background knowledge as they move district to district. Remember that some of these students could be moving several times, and they just jump into a curriculum that maybe is not aligned to where they were, and they have a lack of background knowledge. Lack of sleep was something that I discovered in my research. Needing to care for younger siblings, so they actually miss out on activities beyond the school day because they have to go home and take care of younger siblings. Absences, credits that don't transfer school to school. Making friends was a theme that came up several times, or was a pattern that came up several times under the theme of challenges, because why should you try so hard if you know you're just going to end up moving again over the course of the year? Why really connect with people? And bouncing between houses and trying to catch up with work. So here's a unique example that I want to share, and it was so powerful to me as I was talking with a young female student who had experienced homelessness while she was in middle school. We were talking about turning in assignments, and she said, you know, my teachers thought that they were doing the right thing because I didn't have Wi-Fi, so they would print out the worksheets, and I could take the worksheets as I stayed at Safe Harbor and turn them in the next day. So they didn't want me to be penalized, which was great, and I appreciate it. And then she looked at me and she got really quiet and she said, but you know, it didn't work because I didn't want to feel differently than anybody else. By turning in those worksheets, I looked different. And as a student experiencing homelessness, I don't want to look different. So here we have compassionate educators, and we think absolutely we're doing the right thing, and that was the right thing. But such a perspective is missing sometimes as we think about how we are helping. So I think if I had to talk to teachers and say, what do I want you to do? I want you to reach out. You know, homelessness is certainly a very protective identification, right? So, but having those one-on-one conversations with students and really being the person that students connect to. As I talked with middle-level adolescents that were experiencing homelessness, they told me that the number one factor to make them feel connected to school was a relationship with a caring adult at the building. These students identified the same teacher through their middle school experience, different students, same teacher that told me what this individual did to make them feel welcomed and like they belonged, and that helped them to be connected to school. So my number one tip to you, don't underestimate your power in the lives of our students. You are sometimes the most consistent and reliable individual in their lives. They know what to expect from you any given day, and you are there for them. Whether they're experiencing homelessness or not, don't underestimate yourself. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for focusing on relationships and looking out for our students, and I hope you have a really great day today. Take care.